Hi guys. So I tried doing a bit of a session for you to show you me learning Watkins Glen. Unfortunately the internet went down, so nobody actually saw what I did and I didn't record it. So I'll very quickly try and do that again. I've got about 6 minutes until I need to be in a race, so I wanted to do the how-to before you saw me in LFM. So here's Watkins Glen. Track temperature 29 degrees. So I'm going to load on my setup. Very quickly talk you through it, but any questions about that, please feel free to send me a message. Now, I know the tyre pressures are a bit low for 26. These are probably perfect for 29. So you've got that. You've got the electronic components. Pretty standard. The Ferrari seems to run a higher TC1, medium sort of level ABS, top ECU map. I don't have telemetry on. TC2 seems to be useless on this track. We're going to run low fuel just to show you around. We're going to look at the front brakes and rear brakes, drop them down to pad 1 for shorter stints. Anti-roll bar I've stuck at a 2, seems to stop the front from sliding around too much. I picked up a lot of lap time with brake bias, so setting that lower than what you would traditionally get in an aggressive or a safe setup. And the steering ratio I dropped because I prefer to feel the car like that. Preload on the back, I think I've raised that a couple of clicks just to balance the car out. Dampers, again, we're onto the magic page, which nobody understands. Lots of numbers. Fast bumps, slow bumps. If you need it, just copy that. Obviously, this is for the Ferrari 296 and won't be the same for other cars. High downforce track, so we've got this set to 12. There is no front splitter. And balancing out the under and oversteer using the ride heights. Brake ducts seem to be good at these levels of being open. If the track was cooler, I would shut them a bit, altering tire pressures 1 click, 2 clicks, depending on how much I've opened or shut. What I have found is that in a race, you may want to drop your aero. That straight is so long that you will be a sitting duck. You'll have made up loads of times in the corners, cars are right back, and all of a sudden, by the time you get to that bus stop chicane, they're on you again. So with all of that in mind, we'll head to track. So what I did the first time was talked through on the outlap. I didn't find, because the corners are then out of order, didn't feel very nice. So I'll quickly whip around the track, get you back to the start, and we'll talk through some braking points. Hopefully I'll not crash the car while I'm trying to show you this, because that would just be stupid. We're coming up the hill, flat out. I'll talk you through all of this a little bit better in a second, and like I say, it's going to be a very quick how-to guide. But yeah, you may pick up where I'm braking, what I'm doing as I'm doing it now on this sort of lap to get you back to the start. We'll talk you through from corner 1. It's a nice track. It promotes a good bit of side-by-side racing. Sector 1 in a race, carnage. Nobody yields. Everybody wants that fast straight, because you can make up so much time on it. So 2/3 of the way around the track now, I would say. You can see it's not really corner heavy. So we're heading back round to the final corner now. And we'll start talking you through braking points and what to be looking for. So we're coming down the pit straight. I'll try and slow down for these markers. So, up on the left hand side on the fence, probably looks wrong on the camera when I'm pointing, 200 marker, which I've parked next to now. So we're going to be coming down, switching down to third and braking there. Now what we're going to do is chuck the car in, use the flat part of the curb, drag it round and run out wide. All of this red and yellow is legal. Going to head up the hill. All flat out. All you're looking to do is stay near the curbs. Hitting them can be a problem. It can unsettle the car. So, not great. We're heading down now and we get to this marshal's hut on the left hand side. We're going to switch it down to fourth and we're going to chuck it in across the first curb. Now you don't want to be on the brake when you're on the curbs because it will unsettle the car. Okay, so we're off the brakes but we're back on power then. Round to this long right hander, which is just complete patience. So little dabs of brake, little dabs of throttle just to keep the car going the right way. We head down and we get to this next marker. Now on the right hand side there, you would have just seen it, drain cover. So at the drain cover, we're going to shift down to second. We're going to start following the curb line around until it gets to a point that naturally feeds you back out into that exit curb. Uphill braking for this one, so we can actually brake at a 100 marker. We're down to second again and we're hugging that curb to find that natural exit point, which sends you out to this run-off bit of concrete on the left-hand side. Use that, it's good. One of the hardest parts, or one of the hardest braking zones now. For this corner, you're somewhere between 200 and 100 marker. Now for me, it's probably 170, something like that. And we're going to switch it down to second gear. We're going to chuck it in. Now you're going to clip the apex. And we're going to run back out over this exit section. Back over to the right. This one, tricky. The sign here on the right hand side, that's your braking marker for the left-hander coming up. Now in the race, or quali, that'll get wiped out. It's inevitable. So the more you practice this, the more you'll get used to where that marker is. We're going to switch down to second. And we're going to take a slightly later apex than you would imagine, so that you don't end up drifting out into this barrier on the right-hand side. We're going to stay right, get up to third, and this corner is just a lift. Lift, turn in, back on the power. You'll end up out on that exit curb. And we come down for the final corner. On the left hand side here, the tyre wall just ends and the fencing begins. That's your braking marker and we're going to be in third gear. It's not going to be overkill on the brakes. We're not going to try and brake too much, but we're going to carry the speed of third gear around and end up again back out by the exit curb. So let's see that full pelt, and then I will have to make a move to my race. So we're braking it to 200, down to third, chucking it in, getting that flat bit of curb, using all of this red and yellow. Flat out up the hill, following the curve on the right hand side until it naturally fades away and you end up on the left hand side. Marshall's hut coming up. We're going to shift down one and brake. We're going to use the curbs, but we're not going to be on the brakes when we're on them because otherwise it's going to chuck you everywhere. We're going to just balance the car with the pedals, going around the right hander. We're going to look for the drain cover. Drain cover. We're chucking it in and we're looking for that sort of late apex, sends you back out towards that exit curb. 100 marker coming up. Down to second, and we're looking for that point that it sends you back out to the left hand side again, and we're using that concrete runoff. Now between the 200 and the 100, we're down to second. Getting the clip of apex, back on the power, over the exit. Use the sign, down to second, later apex so that we don't hit that wall. Just the lift in this corner coming up. chucking it in, turning it round, getting back on the power. End of the tyre wall, third gear. We haven't gone mental. We've just used enough to scrub some of that speed. We're back down the pit straight. So that's a 147 now. Very easily you'll be doing 146s using those guides. So how I've got to now, if we go back to the main menu, and we'll just see my fastest time on here so far is a 145.4. 45s are very achievable, and the more practice you get using those braking markers and figuring out your own car, your own setup, 44s are achievable. I would hope by the end of the week to be in the 44s, which isn't that far off at the moment. So with that, I will say thank you for watching the track guide. Hopefully you found it useful. I'll be back in just a moment in LFM. See you soon.